Dive into the heart of Cleveland's business community with the Cleveland Burning Podcast. Join me, Kim Kitchen, owner of Burning River Marketing, and Kirk Tietz, owner of Cleveland Custom Coatings, as we explore the untold stories of local business owners. In this engaging series, we focus on the setbacks, accidents, and unexpected turns that pave the way for ultimate success. So just like the Cuyahoga River ignited change in the city, our podcast showcases how adversity can spark innovation and growth. Hear from passionate entrepreneurs who have braved the flames of failure and emerged stronger and more resilient. Get ready for candid conversations and a behind-the-scenes look at the business landscape in Cleveland. What's up, Kirk?
You know, I was actually at the mall the other day. Doing some Christmas shopping.
Okay.
Ran into this lady, well-to-do, very well-dressed.
Fancy.
I could obviously tell that she had had a lot of plastic surgery done.
Uh-oh.
So I asked her, I said, wow, I said, how much money have you spent in plastic surgery? She says, excuse me, I haven't had any plastic surgery. I said, well, let me tell you, after that, only one of us could keep a straight face.
Oh, what's wrong with you? Okay. So welcome to the Cleveland Burning Podcast, where we dive into stories of local professionals who've braved the flames of adversity and emerged stronger than ever. I'm your host, Kim Kitchen.
And I'm Kirk Tietz, and today we're interviewing Matt Siebert with CertaPro Painters and Superior Fence and Rail. I'm going to take the honor of introducing Matt.
Please do, yeah.
I met Matt, I think 6 or 7 years ago. Actually worked for his company for a little while.
Okay.
And a super great guy. I mean, even though we're not working together now, we remain friends. Great soccer player too. He plays on our soccer team. And you know, he just done well for himself and started this fence company now as well, and moved into a larger building in Middleburg. And he's got a great family. He's got a little 7-year-old boy, super good kid. And I'm excited to have him here and hear some of his stories. So
Yeah, me too. So tell us about which business do you want to talk about? Tell us about them both.
I make mistakes everywhere I go, so I
Okay.
will be able to to share plenty. And I didn't think I was ever going to have to see Kirk again after we stopped working together. And yet here I am. It's
I don't go away so
He
easy.
doesn't. He quit my B&I chapter, and I thought I'd be done with him too.
Yeah.
But here I see him at least every Friday.
I'm like mold. I grow on you if you hang out too long.
Yeah,
You just
yeah.
lean in.
I guess that's the answer. Yeah, but I started CertaPro Painters about, gosh, it's like 10 years ago now, which
okay.
is unbelievable that so much time has passed. And I've been doing Superior Fence and Rail for a little over 2 years. We're attached to a franchise, so the business has been around, actually the largest fence company in the
really?
country. And,
Okay.
we've got businesses running in Cleveland and Columbus, and soon to be another major location, which we are very
Are you
excited
disclosing
about.
it now? Or is
Maybe
it
not
undisclosed?
Yet. Maybe not yet.
Oh,
The ink's
boy.
not yet quite dry, but coming soon.
Okay.
That's great.
All right.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
CertaPro is also a name I'm familiar with. I feel like I see it everywhere.
Yeah.
How much of that is you, and is that also a franchise?
It
must be,
is, yeah.
right? It's
CertaPro's a
everywhere.
franchise,
Okay.
and which in my mind, for me, as an entrepreneur, it's great. You've got a little bit of a backbone, a lot of the technology piece of
Sure.
it. There's some negotiating power that comes along with it as well, especially on the fence side. But yes, so it's a franchise that has been around for 35 years, I think.
Okay.
Wow.
Going back to the early 90s. Does that math work? Yeah, about 35 years, I think. And so there are a couple other CertaPros in the area of Cleveland. The way we work is, we do commercial work all over the place.
Okay.
We do commercial work out of state. Just we can go
So
everywhere.
no territories when it comes to commercial.
No territories.
You get it. You keep it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then on the residential side, we do have a territory.
Sure.
And it's west side of Cleveland.
Okay.
So we cover pretty much down 71 all the way west of 71.
Strongsville to what?
Strongsville,
Avon Lake?
Medina, Avon
You get to
Lake.
go
I mean,
up
we go
there?
out to Vermilion. We do
Amherst,
work in
Vermilion.
Sandusky. Like we do
Okay.
any work on the west side.
Okay.
Prior to getting to
All the way
that
up to
Toledo.
Toledo.
Yeah, we
Okay.
wouldn't do Toledo,
No,
but
okay.
maybe Sandusky would kind of be the cutoff there.
All right. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
What is the distance on the fencing part?
So fencing, it's a little different. Fencing goes everywhere. So we have the entire area of Cleveland.
Oh, that's great.
It's by something called an MSA, a Metropolitan Statistical Area. So we've got all of Cleveland, all of Columbus, and
Oh, wow.
soon
Well,
even
so
a
that even
larger
covers
market,
all
yeah.
the suburbs and everything.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
So it's great. Love it.
So this is going to be a really dumb question, but I'm just going to throw it out there. So I know what a fence is. So what's a rail? I mean, what?
Well, like, you're going down, imagine, going down some steps or on
So you do that. Like
on
if someone's got
patio or
a grand entrance and they want like a really cool rail going up their stairs, then you would do that.
That's right.
Okay, so you do fence and rail.
Yep. Probably a lot more fence than rail, but certainly, rail, comes along with it, as well. We'll get involved with some gates and automation and things like that as well. I wouldn't say that's like, our core, but
doing
certainly
garage doors or anything. But
not garage doors. Yeah. Do you need a garage door?
No,
Yeah.
I need a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, garage doors.
I think
one of them.
Kirk can help with that. Yeah. He looks like a garage door kind of guy.
Yeah, I need the garage first before I get
need
the
electricity in my garage before the garage door is going to do anything. So that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got problems.
Yes, I do. And speaking of problems, the theme of the podcast is kind of about like problems, disasters, failures, maybe a time you made a mistake in business, but it actually, in the long run, contributed to your success. Mm-hmm. We really kind of want to, I don't know, this might be biting off a little more than we can chew, but almost like get rid of that stigma against failure, because there's so many kids, they come out of college, they might get into a business for the first time and they don't think failure is going to be a part of their journey. Mm-hmm. And if you talk to a successful business owner, that failure is just part of the gig, so much so that you don't even see it as failure. You just see it as experience. Yep. Right. So why don't you tell us maybe a story or something that, that failure has helped to contribute to your success?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to pick one out of hundreds, probably.
I've been doing this 2 years, and it took me a while to pick one.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, there are a couple of different themes I could talk about, but I think it's around service, around service and people, and I used to be in the corporate world. I was in the corporate world for 20 plus years, and my experience was like accounting and finance and operations and. We did some purchasing and inventory management and so from a business perspective, I had really done everything except for the sales piece. Mm-hmm. I really didn't have any direct experience in sales. So when I came out of the corporate world and started to do my own thing, that was like what was in my mind is sales. I got to make sure that we're okay at sales, and really that's the exact opposite of what you should be thinking. When I bought CertaPro, it is a franchise. Okay. The name was dragged through the mud. I mean, Kirk can probably attest to it. Okay. It was, for the 5 years prior to my owning it, it had been, decreasing in sales every year. People were, there was a guy running it, not the owner. A general manager was in place, who I think he was, taking money, treating painters horribly. Treating customers. I actually did a secret shopper when I was thinking about buying the business, and the guy came out, gave me an estimate. Never heard from him again. Like never saw the. So that's customers.
Isn't there a show like that where the guy's like your boss and he shows up? What is that called? So that's what you did. Yeah. You're like pretending to be a customer, but you're the boss.
Yeah.
It wasn't a good experience.
It wasn't. It was it was terrible. And then I come to find out that painters have not been paid, and painters again were treated terribly, and so this is the business I bought. So the last thing on my mind should have been sales, even though clearly you're a new business owner, you want to get started, you want to get going, but it really should have all been about, hey, how are we going to change this from a service standpoint? So I got running, and I'm excited that I'm going out and selling jobs, and I still have that same back end where it's people. The only painters who had stuck around are the ones who really didn't have any pride in themselves or care about themselves that much,
right? Yeah.
Or weren't able to find anything better, like these were not the people I should be going, into business with. And so, it went on too long. Jeez. Finally, I woke up and I'm like, what am I, it should not be this difficult, I mean, I should not have to worry about, getting a job and then how are we going to get it done? Mm-hmm. Like that's the last thing that you want, and it keeps you up at night. And if something does not go well, you feel terrible. So, that was a huge learning experience for me, and it's taken time. I think it's been step after step after step, year after year after year, and don't claim to be a finished product, but certainly feel like we are light years ahead of where we were, and now service is everything. Like, every day it's talking, and thinking about how are we going to provide a better customer experience?
Right.
Because that's got to drive everything you do. It's got to be about the customer and the experience that you're providing. I learned that, there's a balance, to everything. There's a balance. I mean, it's probably my favorite word, it's balance, balance, balance. But I was, I've been accused of being too nice. Like, I think that's been, what people
That's not
will
what
say
Kirk
about me.
accused. That's not what Kirk said about you.
and that can be harmful in,
Yeah.
in business, right? Not that I want to be, I want to create that environment, but I had I had people taking advantage of me left and right with sob stories about, this happened or that happened, and can you give me money for this?
That has to be hard.
I lost, tens of thousands of dollars,
Yeah.
if not more, just because, I'm listening to every single sob story about this or what happened or that happened, and I don't think that's that's not a great place to be either.
That's interesting. You want to create a culture where it is that family environment, because your crew is so important, because it helps you to do business and to do it consistently with a consistent product. But how do you do that if there's a line where they're taking advantage
Exactly.
and they're saying, well, my car needs to be fixed. I don't have the money right now. And like my alimony or my child support needs to get paid. And, whatever these stories are. So, I mean, how do you even draw that line? How do you know when you're helping somebody out and creating, that, loyalty in someone that is part of your team, and when you're just being taken advantage of?
So I'm actually going to testify for him here and a little bit of background. So when I was there, I like to treat guys right,
Yeah.
and it's very important to me to make sure that my crew's happy and that I treat them good. But working with Matt, he was so nice to these people and so overgiving to some of the workers that I almost kind of went the opposite way.
You were the
And
jerk?
yeah, I
Is that why
was.
you got fired?
It's absolutely true. I would actually fire some of the guys that were taking advantage of him, and then they would go tell him some poor me story, and he'd bring them back, so there's some truth to what he's saying,
Yeah.
and there is a balance of being able to treat somebody right, but not being taken advantage of at the same time.
That must be hard. I mean,
Yeah.
it's got to be a hard balance.
Yeah, for for sure. And then I guess going along the same lines, like I was, coming from the corporate world. That's where I had spent all my time. I was I did the right thing. Like, that's just me. I will do the right thing no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it doesn't matter if somebody's watching. It doesn't matter.
Right.
If I'm
So
told
you
to do
are.
something,
Sure,
I'm
sure.
I'm going to do it. And I just kind of, in a corporate world, it's more, you've got more structure. You've got more, like, everybody's just kind of rowing in the same direction. Everybody's, you're in a location where people are watching. In this type of business, a services business, where again we're out at job sites doing work. Early on, and again it persisted for a while, but without those checks and balances and making sure we had the right people in place, I'm just like, oh, I know they're going to go out and do a good job. Like, I was too trusting, right? I'm like, oh yeah, these people are good people, and they're going to take care of our company, and they care, and there are people like that for sure. And hopefully
You find
that's
them and
most
keep
of what
them.
we've
Yeah,
got,
sure.
in place right now. I feel really great about the teams that we have, but a lot of people are not like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't go in with your eyes open and realizing that that this is, there's got to be a toughness, and there's got to be, like, standards in place and expectations set that you hold people accountable to.
Yeah, that's a good
100%.
point. Yeah. Trust but verify. You make sure that they're doing the job that you expect. And I would imagine that with your franchise in that model, that they would give you some kind of guidance on that. I mean, there's got to be CertaPro or Superior Fence and Rail people all across the nation. Isn't that kind of a benefit of being in a franchise model?
Yeah, I mean, so if anybody ever calls, and I'll do calls with people looking, prospective franchisees, right, from around the country, and either of the businesses, and what I'll tell them is, it is great because you've got got this backbone from a system standpoint. There are standards that are in place. People have had success all around the country. You can learn from them. It helps so much in getting going up and running on the production side. But ultimately, none of that matter. I mean, it matters,
Yeah.
but ends up coming down to you.
Sure.
Like it's you and your team, your local team. Nobody's here. Nobody's
Right.
going to come and do the job for you.
Sure.
Nobody's going to create the team. It is you and the people that you're surrounding yourself with.
They send you support, but they're not walking you through every step and checks and balances.
It's not like this follow A, B, C, and D, and
Right.
and you're. I mean, there's so much more to it.
It is all related, right? Because if we're saying that it's the human component of your business and of your crew that is so important, well, that human component is going to be different in a franchise and at any other. It's like more unique than snowflakes, right? Because it's that human factor. Like if I'm on your team, no one else has a Kim Kitchen that's on their team. So when I give you lip,
Thankfully,
yeah,
probably,
right.
yeah.
So when you don't know if you're supposed to fire me or promote me, you can't ask somebody else, like, what do I do with this crazy woman? Like, because they don't have her,
That's
So
right.
so it's that human component, I imagine, that makes it so unique that it comes down to you and your team, like you said.
Yeah, and it's weird when you've got the right people. It becomes easy. I mean, you could probably attest to that. It just becomes so much easier when you have the right people around you. You don't have it's not you're not sweating everything because you've got people who are there and they know what to do and they want to do it, right? They take that pride and have that passion and so that clearly is
Nice.
when you think about at least me, and my experiences, that's why I say it all just comes back to the people, really.
Do you have anyone that works on both? Like you've got your CertaPro, and then are they separate, or can you combine? Like if you've got a project manager over at CertaPro, can they also hop over and check out a fence thing?
Yeah,
you can.
Well,
Or no?
so I was gonna,
Just a mistake.
great question.
Okay.
Something I think about. I think about a lot. On the when it comes to painting or the installation, we don't really do any of that. I mean,
Okay.
that we want people who are great at what they do and very skilled at what they do. And there are people who might be able to dabble, a little
Right.
bit, but we want people who that's their life, that's
Just
that's
they
their
do, yep.
passion. That's
The painter
that's-
paints, the fence guy
Yeah.
puts in fences.
Yeah, hey,
Okay.
for sure. Now, going upstream on the sales side, that is something that clearly, we're just starting to do, and we're going to do a lot more.
Makes
We're out
sense.
there. It's even commercially, we do both residential work and commercial work,
Mm-hmm.
and really the customer on one side is the customer on the other side. So that is something we are going to start to do a lot more of, that kind of cross pollination between the two businesses.
So if you install a fence and you're going to paint it, do you still separate that as far as the company, right? So like Superior Fence and Rails gives them a price, CertaPro gives them a separate side
That's right.
price. Is that two different sales reps then for that? Or
We
you-
would. So the sales reps, there could be two sales reps that would go out for sure. And, so maybe one sales rep finds the job, but again, they're not as versed in, the actual details of
Sure.
what needs to happen. So then they would partner with, sales rep on the other side. So
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, so when are you going to buy a landscaping company? I mean, I feel like you've got the whole thing. You got the rail, you got the painting. We add
Yeah.
the landscape, maybe
Yeah.
some pavement.
Yeah.
Like what do
we are going to get a gutter company up
Are you
and
serious?
up and running. So
Good for
that
you.
is established, and we have the machining, and so that is something that we will be rolling out in 2024.
Okay.
Wow.
So that is happening. But I think we need, especially with this other location opening up,
The
we
secret
probably need
location.
another year or two just to, let things settle and make sure we are firmly established, everywhere, and then maybe we'll think about something
How
else.
long were you doing the Cleveland area on the fence before you went to Columbus?
A year.
Yeah.
And again, I could talk forever about learnings, even going through CertaPro and doing that business, then going into another business, especially on that installation side.
Right.
It's a different process.
Sure.
A lot of similarities, but there are clearly some differences as well. And our first year in Cleveland, a lot of long days, lot of kind of muscling through things, learning, which was awesome for when we went to Columbus and opened
Mm-hmm.
Columbus. We had all those learnings, and it was just night
So
and,
you have-
and day.
I didn't mean to interrupt though. Do you have a sales rep then that's just for Columbus?
We do.
Do you have a warehouse there too, like
We
you
do.
did here in
Yep,
Middleburg?
yep,
That's
yep, yep.
fantastic, man.
Yeah. We've got just east side of the city of Columbus, and we've got again a similar question at some point here, and probably this year. There will be a component more on like the customer service side where, maybe we are doing stuff between the two locations, but on, the sales and installation and, warehouse management and those pieces, it's just too much to get, the product back and forth, and it just doesn't make sense for us. So a lot of that stuff is all managed within the individual locations.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So when you have say somebody wants to paint the fence in Columbus, then you have to push that to the CertaPro in Columbus, or
we would,
or you try to.
Yeah, I mean, if it's residential, we would not do that through CertaPro.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah.
It is pretty cool. So, I mean, this is where I play. Like, I do a lot of SEO for people, trades, fence, painting, all that stuff. So I have tons of questions. Like, I want to know what type of fences you do, but this would take an hour. I mean, so do we have time? I think we have time to at least find out. I know you won't share with us your secret location, but what do you have that's fun and exciting that we could promote, about either one of your businesses, or maybe another business that you're acquiring?
Yeah, no, I mean, just, I guess the elevator speech is, on the CertaPro side, we do residential painting, interior and exterior. We do commercial painting, interior and exterior. We will do a project that is $1,000. We will do a project that is $500,000. I mean, we really, if there's something out there, there's a surface that it can be painted, we will do it. Yep. And we've got teams in place, because it's different. It's a different world, right? I mean, there's residential, and there are people who are good in the residential space, and there is a commercial world, and people who are good in that space. And we've got separate teams who really cater to both. So we're up and running for 10 years now, and just had our best year ever in 2023, and
Congrats.
Super pumped and excited for the future on the paint side and fencing. So just real quick,
I really like the fencing
vinyl
part.
fencing,
Okay.
wood fencing, aluminum fencing,
Okay.
chain link. I mentioned rails.
You don't do cast iron, right? No one does cast iron anymore.
No, I mean, if
You have
somebody
one
had a
that looks
need
like
for
it.
something, we may be able to take a look at it, but that we've not done that
Right.
to this point, and not a lot of requests for for cast iron.
There's some older homes that used to have cast iron, and
Yeah.
I know there's a product now that it's not. Is it aluminum that looks like the cast iron? It's really decorative, and
There
it
are
looks
some
very similar.
really cool products that that are out there that we've done some jobs with. That when you're done, it looks like old and the decorative,
really
and it's
cool.
it's great. So we're even though we have just been doing our thing for a little over 2 years, we've still done hundreds. We've probably done, I don't know, 500 jobs on the fence side. So we are very experienced. Again, I think provide that great customer service. And I mean, we're super excited about it.
So I've always said for years, I think good fences make good neighbors.
Yeah,
And I think great
absolutely.
fences make great neighbors. So you're making superior neighbors. That's what you're doing, right?
That's good.
That could be
There
a
are
good tagline.
there are we've seen
You're doing more than building fences. You're making good neighbors.
Yeah, as I'm sure you've seen on the paint side, as have I, the fence side. There have been a few stories about neighbors and
enough.
Some things going on
Sure enough.
between the two, and that clearly is a reason. One of the reasons people get fences. Yeah.
Now,
But pets and kids,
Yeah,
and
pets
there's so
is a
many
big one.
pools and a lot of other reasons as well.
Yep. Now, what about do you do agricultural areas? Like if someone's got I've got one of my clients that they make pole barns, and I wonder there maybe should be an introduction because they're dealing with people that I think you have to fence in the whole area, like acres. Would you do a project like that?
Oh yeah, I mean absolutely. Yeah, so same thing. I think I mentioned it on maybe more specific to the paint side, but the same is true for for fencing. We do a lot of residential, right? We'll do a lot of backyard fences, but we also are involved we love the commercial work where you just look at something and you can't there's nothing there, right? And then when you're done, you see this beautiful fence that's kind of locking in a big large area. It's got some boundary to it. Then so. Where you're going almost, it looks like miles when it's done,
looks
right?
really
So,
cool.
so yes, projects like that are we love those.
And you
types of
have those
projects.
pictures of those fences up on your website?
We do.
'Cause
Yeah.
we'll
make
we'll
sure
add
to
a
link.
link
Yeah, for sure.
here to both your companies.
Okay.
So if anybody wants to see your work, they can go. Take a
My
look
wife does all of our like pictures and social media and all that.
That's
So
great.
she would love it if
We will
if
link.
anybody wanted to go out there and take a look at
Yeah.
what
at
we
it. We'll
got
put a
there.
link on for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, fences is one of those things where, a lot of people think they can do it themselves until they get started, and it's not. You can totally tell when someone's done their own fence. And my family tried to do their own fence,
Yeah.
and they called in the experts after digging a couple of
That is
holes.
I mean, I learned that very quickly because I kind of had the same thing, right? The same idea that,
You're just thinking, you dig a hole, you put it in some concrete,
Yeah.
you put in a post, you connect it all. Like
Yeah.
how can you screw this up?
No.
You can't.
I learned it like in the first week. No, that you really need people who know what they're doing
Yeah.
and who have done it before, who've got that experience, because yeah, absolutely. You can easily botch a fence.
Yes.
It's not, yeah. You've seen a bunch of those leaning and wobbling. Yeah.
There's one in, I think it's Avon or North Ridgeville, and every time we drive by it when we're going to Meyer, it's elevated off the ground. I don't know why they would have done that. We always try to figure it out, but it's like 12 inches, sometimes 2 feet underneath the ground, and I don't understand what they did. I'm going to take a picture and I'm going to send it to both of you guys, because
that's one of the first questions you ask, right? You got to understand, because there can
Ground's
be
not level.
Yeah. I mean, if the ground's not level, you got to understand what the desired look or purpose is.
Yeah, I think they wanted it level on top, but the ground isn't level, so you have all this gap. So I mean, it just looks ridiculous. It looks. I mean, you could just go right underneath it. Like the fence is doing nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand what this is.
Yeah.
Like. Anyway,
Maybe you should give me the address. I'll knock on the door, or maybe you should tell them that there's a little issue, and I know somebody.
Right? Yeah. I mean, if they ever get a dog, it's not going to do anything because the dog will just walk right out the bottom. I mean, I don't know. I don't understand what's going on, but thank you. I really love your stories, and I'm really fascinated by by what you're going to be doing in the future. I feel like you're just gonna the new location is, I will be tuned in.
You're going to be glued to your seat.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Okay.
I'm waiting to hear it.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
gonna. Yeah, it's we'll make a disclosure when we find out. We want to make a big announcement.
All right, sounds great.
So thank you. And we hope our listeners are as inspired by the stories of your success as we were. I like to throw in Edison's thing where he says he's not failed. He just found 10,000 ways that won't work. So I think you're well on your way. You keep finding. You like to call them. What did you call them? Like they're learnings.
Learnings.
They're
Is
not
that what I said? I
failures.
didn't
you
realize
said
that. Okay,
learnings
good.
a lot.
That sounds
so that
good.
was the learnings. Yeah. So don't forget to tune in for more interviews with local professionals as we continue to explore twists and turns that lead to the triumph in the world of business. And if you enjoyed today's episode, which we certainly hope you did, please subscribe.
Subscribe.
Yeah, we've got our little cups that we made from Dan made downstairs. So subscribe and leave us a review to help us reach even more listeners. So until next time, remember that every train wreck can be a stepping stone to something extraordinary. And thanks for joining us on the Cleveland Burning Podcast.
Thanks for coming, Matt.
Thank
That
you
was
so
awesome.
much, Matt.
Thanks for
That
having
was
me.
awesome.
We'll see you next time.